this game sucks because you can murder deer.
You're seeing like the big looming golden tree basically anywhere you are. And then even just like the regular trees kind of like mimic the design of those, you know? This guy's trying to fight that big guy and doing almost no damage. So he's like, all right, maybe this isn't the direction. Hi, I'm Noah. I've been in games for about 7 years now. I'm a technical designer.
I'm Eva. I've been in game development as a general indie game designer for about 6 years now, and soon to be area designer.
Eva, today we're taking a look at one of my favorite games that's come out recently.
Boy howdy, it's a game that I have never played and I don't really want to play because it's supposedly very hard.
Oh, I love it. I love the challenge. Today on Gamology, Experts React, we're taking a look at Elden Ring. God, they're starting us off looking at Caelid? No, I'm doing like nerd rage already. You can't start off in Caelid, guys.
I like the horse. It's got horns.
Oh my god. I love the terrains in this game. I love the environments. It's all so beautiful. Look at just the level of detail everywhere.
Where'd they come? Did they just pop out of the ground?
I don't know.
I don't know where they came from.
Sure.
Well, this is fun so far. That's my kind of game right there.
How could it not be? I love the vistas. For an open world game, Elden Ring is so good at framing these like beautiful, picturesque, like wallpaper-worthy shots.
Yeah, this definitely draws you in.
This game really rewards you for just going wherever you want and checking stuff out, which I love.
It rewards you by giving you things or by murdering you a million times and then giving you things?
It might be the same.
Okay, yeah.
No one starts out at these games good. You just have to be okay saying, like, here's a game that's going to tell me that I f***ed up by killing me. And that just means I need to do different next time.
Gotcha.
And that's for some people enough.
Yeah, it would be something to get used to for me.
Sure.
And he's just jumping right over the spiked walls, which is actively hurting him. I guess that's fair. I'd rather do that than get hit by fireballs.
Sure.
Oh, yep, I heard him. Okay.
Very cool.
Well, he looks awful and terrifying.
Forgive me fanboying a little bit, but the difficulty, it kind of does serve a purpose too, of forcing you to be really observant, you know? If you're watching, you'll see the ballista, you'll see the like giant guy up on the wall ready to jump down. These are things that you can be ready for, but if you're not ready for them, you know, they might get you pretty good. Generally, you know, there's like some boss fights that you need to do to reach the end of the game, but even a lot of those are optional.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful?
Hello? Who is she? The tree.
Rouge. Oh, doing the French Elden Ring experience. Okay.
I like the particle effects. It's really pretty.
This was called Redmane Castle in English, so it's like Red Lion Castle in French. That's kind of funny.
Ooh, that helmet is creepy. I did not know that before.
Right? There's a lot of expression in the character builds too, and the multiplayer can be kind of cutthroat. It's cool to see everyone doing their fashion.
So right now, it's an open world game, so you are just kind of exploring the castle, seeing what's there, seeing what loot you can get, and if there's like some mission or whatever.
Yeah. You know, you'll find characters who will like hint at stuff to you, like there's a castle in this area that might contain such and such, you know?
There's a secret passage.
Oh, it's so cool.
Oh, okay, immediately start firing.
Yeah, man, it's so hard to balance these kind of like enclosed spaces like a castle with the same gameplay as like the big open world when you're riding around on your horse. You can't use your horse in most of these little areas.
That's good, it's probably fair.
Pretty tough to make these fights still challenging.
A moment ago when they were doing some combat, it kind of looked like the actions were slow. Is that just me because I'm watching footage? Or
no, not.
Is that part of the design of the combat?
That's super intentional, I think. You know, generally you're reacting and you're acting. You kind of just have to feel out the rhythm of that, and that's what these games are all about. You know, you watch and you wait for an opening after they do something, and then you take your chance. You know, I don't want to sound like Elden Ring is easy. It's not easy, but it's kind of simple in that way that it's just about like, you know, you dodge the enemy and then you take your chance and vice versa.
Well, does that mean if you attack at the wrong time, then while you're still doing your
attacks are slow too, exactly, yeah. Or maybe if there are multiple guys, you have to, you know, bait them into a more advantageous situation.
So basically, if you just go in there swinging like I like to do, you're gonna get murdered.
Might not be the game for that.
Okay. Ooh,
gotta know
he's
your,
a lot faster, but he, you know, takes a break.
Sure, gotta know your moves a lot too, you know. If you do a really heavy attack and commit to it, you're gonna get locked into that. Like, the animation department has to make these weapons kind of make sense to swing around, you know, even if they're like giant impractical swords. But you also need to balance the design around, like, okay, is it fair if the weapon is like, you know, this long and this powerful and takes this long to swing? Is that too good? Is that gonna leave you too exposed?
Yeah, or think of like, they might have this advantage, but it has its drawbacks. So
totally,
whatever fits your playstyle.
I don't envy the game designers on this.
Any open world game designer deserves props.
Oh man.
Bye for now.
French. Oh, Gamology French. Am I allowed to ask that? It's cool. Again, you're seeing like kind of the expressiveness, like a totally different looking character, different weapons, you know.
Yeah, I like the mask. This one's much less creepy than like the Burger King.
Yeah, totally. And this is probably the starting area. It's kind of like idyllic, you know, none of the evil red graphics kind of like looming over everything.
Are you able to climb cliffs?
Sort of. You have a double jump on your horse, but you can't do like the Breath of the Wild climb.
Climb up.
It's not that expressive.
And there is fall damage, I'm assuming.
There's fall damage.
Okay, so you really got to be careful about where you're going.
Yeah.
You don't have complete freedom.
No, not at all. And the game kind of gates off areas too with verticality, you know, so there's like big endgame areas that are up on a mountaintop. You need to like find the route to get up there.
Okay, yeah, so they kind of push you into a bottleneck.
A little bit, yeah, because it's tough with these big open worlds to sort of indicate like what is an area you should be going to now.
Yeah, and like, because even if you set a path for people to follow, it's not guaranteed that they're going to follow.
Totally. And that's sort of the point, right?
Yeah.
You should go off the beaten path a bit. The difficulty too, I think, kind of like informs maybe where you should be, you know. This guy's trying to fight that big guy and doing almost no damage, so he's like, all right, maybe this isn't the direction.
This is the same guy that was at the castle, and he's nasty.
He's a little bit nasty.
He's got no tum-tum.
Big raisin.
Big raisin.
Big raisin. This is one of the California raisins.
Ugh, I don't want to think about that. We haven't even talked about the UI and whatnot.
No, not at all.
You got 3 bars up top.
You got 3 bars.
So
classic red for health.
Yeah.
Classic blue for mana.
And can you increase this over time, any of them?
You can level up and you get to choose where you allocate that stuff. So it's very expressive in the equipment and very expressive in the character builds too. Because generally by the time you reach the end of the game, you're going to be over level like 100. So you have a lot of points to allocate.
There's a whole empty kind of box next to the health bars.
Yeah, that's the spells box.
Oh.
So you can go through the whole game without engaging with the magic systems and all. There's so many different kind of like combat systems, you know. There's spells.
You only use one at a time and then it appears in the box?
You can use whatever you want. I keep geeking out about the game because I like it so much, but I think it's awesome how much different stuff you can do.
So that sounds like it does have a lot of freedom, which would be fun to do.
I think the one kind of big drawback with that is that you can sort of level yourself into a corner without realizing it if you start the game and you put all your points into, you know, strength stat and you want to use spells and you just didn't know, you know.
Yeah. I feel like that's the case for a lot of games though, that just give you the points right away.
Any like RPG that doesn't,
Yeah, so what do I usually like? But that doesn't give you a lot of freedom to change what you like then.
Sure, no, absolutely. Even here, you don't even need to engage with like the melee combat that these games are typically kind of about.
Not so sure how I feel about how the inventory is just like kind of a stack of boxes. It functions for sure, but it's all right. It's kind of growing on me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely functional. Maybe not flashiest nor the you know, sleekest. Gets the job done. No, so sorry, Eva.
Abort!
Cover your eyes for this one. Oh, you really hate Elden Ring.
This game sucks because you can murder deer. I'm assuming there's no other way to engage with the animals besides violence. Typical of many, many modern games.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Unfortunately.
Just be a humble Elden Ring rancher. My dragonfly farm.
So yeah, what kind of other systems are there in this game besides, like, you know, there's definitely a lot of combat systems from melee and spells and range stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, well, they added crafting. The older kind of like Dark Souls and Bloodborne type of games never had that. You know, crafting systems can get a little bit cumbersome with all the different items you need to keep track of, but it also makes sense that open world games love to use them, you know, because you need some reason to be going around the world, picking stuff up slightly off the beaten path, you know? Love the vistas. I love that you can be up on these high hills and look out and see a million interesting things.
It's good world design.
Yeah, I think George Martin did that himself. He built the whole world.
He built the whole
thing.
world.
He just gave him the engine, came back 6 months later.
It's important, like, if you want to get your player to explore, you need to invite them to do so.
Oh, totally.
And, you know, show them all these different locations.
Make them feel like they'll be rewarded for it too. Like, see an enemy camp like this or a castle or something, you know, there's going to be amazing stuff inside.
I always feel like at the beginning of open world games, there's definitely a balance you have to strike of making them feel like they're starting an adventure while also not overwhelming them too much right away.
That's so tough, yeah.
A lot of games struggle to do that, and I feel like even I would struggle to do that. It's a really hard balance to get. So, you know, I found myself playing open world games and I get excited for this side cave or whatever, and then I go in there and I get myself killed. And so what I have to do is I just follow the story for a little while just to get a little bit beefier.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Anything, which isn't a great feeling, but I'd be interested to see how this game does that.
It gates you off early with a kind of tough boss fight. It can maybe alienate alienate some players and push them away, you know? I think what the game's maybe trying to tell you is like, go off, do some other stuff, come back, you know, when you're a little stronger.
It's like the core loop, but it's very, it's a subtle,
it's subtle, and it's tough, especially if you're not used to this kind of game to, you know, not just be discouraged, like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to go and I can't do it.
The Souls series is very interesting in that you will enjoy it more, from my perspective, if you go in knowing about it more.
I think so.
So if there was someone who just didn't know anything, and they did that, they'd be like, this game's hard.
Yeah, I think so.
Which I don't blame them for thinking that, but...
Just be a list of very basic things you should know before you try to play.
Yeah, it's a mental barrier.
Okay, what's your favorite open world game?
I feel like the easy response is Breath of the Wild, but that's going to be everyone's response.
Sure, probably, but it's a great game.
It is a great game.
I love Breath of the Wild too, and I loved it.
I feel like Breath of the Wild does a really good job of balancing its tools and mechanics to make you feel like you have agency to do stuff, and I feel like it could do even more with like more scope, so I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with the sequel.
Yeah, that's exciting.
But they also do a good job with like discoverability and like keep giving that feeling of adventure and whatnot.
Yeah, I think in this game maybe it's even a little rougher because the rewards that you're getting from doing stuff might not necessarily correspond to your character. In Breath of the Wild, you always know what the reward will be.
Yeah.
This is a cute feature too. You get the little telescope so you can look out across the world.
Yeah, it's like Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
you can like place your landmark flags and stuff too.
Oh, okay, so you can put your own waypoints? Okay, yeah. I really like that feature in open world games.
There's no waypoints on the map by default.
You just make your own.
You make your own.
Okay, you make your own adventure. Yeah, I like that.
I like it too.
I can see how you could put a lot of hours into this game.
Oh yeah, I was playing this almost nonstop when it came out.
Ooh.
I like the sort of visual congruity, I guess. Is that a word? I know incongruity is a word. Whatever. The visual congruity of the world, you know? You're seeing like the big looming golden tree basically anywhere you are. And then you see these kind of smaller versions of it that stand out as landmarks you can go towards. And then even just like the regular trees kind of like mimic the design of those, you know? Everything is sort of, you know, like scaled down. There's a lot of interesting things they do with sort of scope.
Definitely like, you know, you can kind of travel, naturally flow from area to area.
Totally.
That's good.
Yeah, it's cool. There's these checkpoints called graces in the game, and they give you like an arrow that if you're right by the grace kind of points you towards the next grace. That will be useful for the main story.
Okay.
So you can use those, and that's kind of nice if you're just coming into it and you want to, you know, make a beeline down the main story quest, or you just get lost, you know? And you can fast travel between them too.
Kind of just a good general world design where they have pockets of areas with these, you know, landmarks that you need to get to, and so you're kind of able to ebb and flow your way through the maps.
Totally.
Yeah.
They kind of do the Skyrim Dungeons thing too, you know, where you have this big open world full of interesting stuff, and then these kind of more linear, isolated little pockets that you can go into.
You don't have to worry about getting lost in those situations.
Nice.
Then you just, you know.
It's an evil flower. Eva. Don't be fooled. That's not a good
flower. It's pretty though.
Eva, no.
But yeah, there's some stealth. How is the stealth? Like, are you able to hide in grass?
Yeah, you can. It's pretty bare bones, but it's functional, you know. The game never really requires it.
Do they have detection meters?
No, nothing
no.
like that.
Okay, so yeah, definitely.
It's all very diegetic, yeah. Gotta kind of see if they're, you know, who's that?
Ooh, evil flower.
Oh god, no, get out of there.
What's that? Oh, okay, it's an attack.
Evil flower. You're telling me they're reusing assets in Elden Ring? Get out of here.
Reusing assets, more like having just, you know, consistency in what attacks look like.
Don't say that. I'm trying to be critical, okay? I have to at least think of like some minor criticism.
Yeah, that is important too, just having consistency throughout your systems and whatnot, because it's a very subtle way of telling players things that they need to know without directly telling them.
Sure. You want to be able to kind of intuit that something is good or bad, you know? It's just having fun.
And the flowers. Look at, they're like walking, these flowers. Yeah. It's silly.
They're sort of cute. It's all very whimsical too, you know? The game is, you know, brutally difficult and like, you know, very dark in places, but you've got these whimsical little details like walking flowers and like silly little cartwheeling goblin guys, you know?
I love the horse. I love how you can just kind of summon it in thin air.
It's so cute.
Is there any customization with the horse at all?
No, not at all.
I love these spires, the different environments throughout the world. It's very cool.
They're so cool. So hard with an open world game to make like very distinct areas that can still fit together and make sense, you know? Like you're gonna have, you know, your icy area and your lava area and stuff, and this game has it all, but it's always kind of tough to put all of those things compacted into the size of a game world without it seeming silly.
Yeah, and the transitional areas, not just bordered.
No, totally. That's one of those checkpoints. This guy doesn't think he needs it.
Do you have to fight a boss or something to get the checkpoint?
They're all over the place. Just take them.
So in that sense, I am kind of making comparisons to like Breath of the Wild in my mind. I was like, checkpoints are kind of like shrines.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Breath of the Wild also has a big main thing that you're kind of going towards for the whole game, which is the castle.
Sure. And that exists here, but it's kind of vague too. There's like a lot of characters who will sort of hint like, you know, you need to go to this place or beat this boss.
Yeah,
and they'll be scattered around the world.
I was more meaning the giant glowing tree.
Oh, sure. Well, that too, yeah. I definitely want to head in that direction.
Assuming that's where you have to go.
Fairly well signposted, yeah. You got the gist.
Oh my god, the Elden Ring is actually the ring of a tree.
The Elden Ring was friendship ring all along. I don't know.
This is actually a My Little Pony spinoff.
Oh my god, that's what the horse is?
That's what the horse is. Just run around.
Yeah.
Notice there's not monsters like everywhere.
No.
They're not too saturated, which is kind of nice.
These just kind of like peaceful or semi-peaceful areas, you know?
Yeah.
Not everything seems like it's like trying to kill you maliciously. It's just wildlife, you know?
Yeah. You just avoid those flowers.
Just keep your distance and it'll keep its, you know?
That's nice.
Yeah. Kind of gives it the feeling of a more authentic world too.
So we know that in Souls games you're gonna die a lot. When you respawn, do you lose a lot of stuff, or is it not that punishing?
Yeah, you don't lose that much. You lose all of the level up currency that you're carrying, which is also like money.
Okay.
You
can
use
you
it for
save
both
that
things,
at like
but you can,
the equivalent of a bonfire?
Sort of. You can come back and get it from where you died.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
If you don't die again before then, so it makes this risk reward thing. Yeah. You get back there. I think you're gonna live this time. You know, maybe you cut your losses and go somewhere else.
You just respawn at the last like grace or checkpoint.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're pretty generous putting them near boss fights too.
Okay, good. Yeah, I would definitely be hitting all of them up.
Oh sure.
This guy was very brave for not doing so.
Yeah, he's a little crazy.
Ooh, scary water ghost.
There's an Elden Ring moment. This part is so tough. There are some parts that I think, as much as I love the game, are maybe a little too mean. In this one, there's an item that helps you fight this guy, but you sort of need to get the intel before you get here, or else it's just going to seem unfair.
Oh yeah, which in open world game that's
it's
never
so tough to
guaranteed.
ensure. Yeah. How do you make sure they got it? Definitely a couple missteps. You know, just put like a note near the boss fight or something that tells them about the item. Something that simple, I think.
Or something that even hints at that there may be any clue to it. Because then that also sparks your sense of adventure.
No, totally.
Gotta get this thing, go on a quest.
Nice to have a long-term planning, you know, step 1 to do step 2.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite parts of the game.
We're indoors now, so the camera's really pulled in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cute!
Eva, it's not cute.
It is cute.
It's evil, Eva.
It may be evil, but it's a cutie pie.
Eva, don't fall for the cute snail. Eva.
I want to boop his snoot.
Eva, no.
I guess he booped his snoot with his sword.
I guess a form of high-test boopage.
I like the creature design.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's whimsical, right?
Yeah. I haven't seen the cute ones like this. I've only seen the ones like gross raisin skeleton man earlier. Nasty. Hello?
Just looking for an invisible wall.
Do you have to hit it multiple times?
No.
Okay.
There was a bug in the game at launch where there was an invisible wall that you did have to hit a bunch of times that wasn't intended to be there. They just like set the health value wrong.
Oh, oops.
Maybe this guy is trying to do that.
Is there any indication with when a wall is invisible?
No, typically not.
You
but
smack
will
every
hint
wall
at it.
then?
You can, but generally it's signposted. You know, there'll be like an arch over it that kind of looks like a passageway.
Oh, okay.
Or in this place in particular, there's like a character who will tell you, yeah, that's the bugged one. Not supposed to be that way.
You just gotta use your eyeballs then.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
Hi guys.
Doesn't matter. Who cares about that
he doesn't
room?
care about them.
This is an abandoned castle.
Sort of. There's some guys in here. Those two, for example.
They look like they're just sitting there.
They're just sitting. They're just waiting for you to chat. Everyone's got their own agendas in the world, you know. It's going back through the snail tunnel. Yeah.
Does this game have an easy mode? I'm assuming it does not.
No.
Because it is intentionally like difficult. By design, the loop is that you're supposed to like try to do stuff and come back, which it encourages you to explore while you're waiting to get stronger to fight the boss. So if you had an easy mode in this particular game, it would be detrimental to the exploration aspect of it.
Sure.
Potentially.
And you know, I'm sure there's as many opinions on that as there are people. There's, you know, accessibility concerns and stuff for an
for
easy
sure,
mode.
that too.
But I agree with you, you know, generally what it wants you to do is go off and explore and then come back. But, you know, it's tough for players, just like that kind of boss fight game I was talking about earlier. If you've never played one of these before, you're just not aware that that's how they want you to play it, you know?
Yeah.
How do you know that that's what you're supposed to be doing?
And in general, I like it when games have an easy mode because I don't like super hard challenges as much.
Fair enough.
So it is definitely a choice that the designers made to not give people that option.
No, totally.
And then there's other small ways that you can make it easier. Like I know the whole pause thing was an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely on the side of I think a pause button should be in place just for accessibility reasons.
No, I think so too. I'm sure it was just kind of laziness because of the multiplayer features, but it definitely would be nice.
I never like to say that, like, I really hate the phrase lazy devs because people throw it around everywhere. Right. And no dev is actually lazy. It's just you guys,
prioritization.
Prioritization, give and take on what you need to do.
Of course.
While making games. And it's really hard to keep everything
Oh, you couldn't do this? You couldn't make this?
I couldn't just make
You couldn't just make Elden Ring? Oh, either.
I like the spinning wheeling thing.
I like the spinning wheel too. They had so much fun with the weapons. Again, it's so whimsical, you know, there's zany outfits, zany weapons, like crazy cute enemies all over. I think a lot of people think it's like this very, dark, brutal game, and it kind of is in some ways, but I think there's a lot of kind of love and passion, and they want the people playing it to always be having fun and not like feeling like they're slogging through some incredible, difficult challenge all the time.
Yeah, and I will say, as someone who has never played it and I didn't really know anything about it beyond seeing this video, I did think a lot of those things just based on what I knew about the series and based on like what people would post. It's dark and gritty and difficult, but after seeing how open the world can be and how much freedom you have and like what I was discussing, the different systems that are in place and the checkpoints and whatnot, as long as my mental state is like knowing that I'm gonna struggle and that that's okay and that I don't have to do things, that like if there's a bad guy I can just not fight him, I would be more willing to tackle this now.
A little less daunting.
So thank you.
Oh, of course, my pleasure.
Life-changing this has been. So I think in the end, I've learned a lot more about this game than I knew, and I'm really glad that I know this. I feel like I would be able to tackle it more if I chose to, but in the end, it just sucks because you can't customize the horse, so it's a terrible game.
I mean, you knew how I was coming in. I love this game. I'm very biased watching this with you right now. I think it's interesting to discuss its shortcomings, even a game that I like this much. You know, it's got its stumbling blocks. Game development is really hard, and it's never going to be perfect for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, no game is going to be perfect, and even if one person thinks it's perfect, like you said,
totally,
it's not going to work for everyone, and so you do what you can in order to get it as good as you can. Yeah. Thanks for watching Experts React Elden Ring. If you'd like to see more videos like this, check out Gamology on Facebook or YouTube. See you in the next one. That's exactly what it sounds like. Let me solo this video. It's harder than it looks. If you're interested, you can